want to take a moment here to discuss a topic that's been going around YouTube a little bit, and it's about being a responsible gun owner, being a person that puts forward a good image of gun owners on YouTube, and practicing proper gun safety in your videos. There's been a lot of back and forth with some people about some unsafe behavior for some people, and some people that are really latching onto it. And I've actually been asked my opinion by a couple of questions. I actually had a long conversation with Chaos today about it. And I kind of go back and forth on my opinion of it, on what to do about it, how to handle the situation. Now, I do believe that a gun can be a safe item. Like this gun right here. Look at it. I will hold it like this. This is for the sake of the camera. That shows the whole gun. I'm putting my hand in front of the barrel. This gun is completely unloaded. It's completely safe. I've checked it half a dozen times off camera. I don't think it's necessary to do it on camera because, you know, like when I watch a movie and someone's using a gun in a movie, I don't think, oh my God, they're shooting at each other. They could have killed each other filming that. I kind of assume that it was someone's job to make sure those guns were safe before they did that. So that's kind of the way I feel about gun videos. I assume for your own safety you checked your gun before you did a video. And if you didn't, then you're putting yourself at risk. Not anybody else, just yourself. Unless there's somebody else in the room with you. Now, so I will do some things that someone might consider that very unsafe. But this is no more dangerous right now than a nail gun that's not hooked to a power or not hooked to its air hose. You know, it's no more dangerous than a hammer. This is no more dangerous than holding a hammer right now. Now, if you're at a range and you're live firing and stuff like that, there's some things you got to do. I mean, you just got to be safe. Because, you know, you never know what condition a gun's in at a range. You just don't. Even if you think you've checked it, it's easy to get confused, it's easy to forget. So like in this case, even though this gun is completely safe and I will hold it like this, there are certain things I won't do. I just can't bring myself to do. Like when I'm cleaning a gun, I have to take it apart before I look down the barrel. Like this gun right now, it's totally safe. I could stare down the barrel. Like I could look right into that barrel. But I can't bring myself to do it. I feel real uneasy. I mean, I could force myself, but it really makes me kind of a queasy feeling to do it. I don't like it. I don't feel safe when I do it. I would never, ever, even if I had checked this gun 100 times, would I ever do something like put it to my temple and make a joke. Just because that is enforcing a really bad thing to do with a gun that you'd never have to do. Now, something like holding it like this, sometimes things like that are necessary. You have to be able to hold and manipulate a gun to clean it. You got to be able to hold and manipulate a gun and move a gun to disassemble it, everything. So there are necessary times when you're doing stuff like that, or even just for the sake of the camera. But putting a gun to your temple, things like that, there's never any excuse for doing that. It's not something you never have any reason to do. Now, I'll dry fire this gun. This gun's unloaded. I will dry fire it. I'm not risking damaging my camera there because I know this gun is safe. And dry firing is a very important part of practicing with your gun. So I will dry fire my gun. I don't consider that unsafe behavior to do it in a video, as long as I've checked my gun. Now, as far as going out and doing things like putting a big gun in a small kid's hand, or look at my 90-pound girlfriend get hit in the face by my 44 Magnum Taurus revolver. Those things, I cringe when I see them. I don't want to see them. I will not watch them. I don't even want to watch them. I mean, granted, I am one of the guys that I find humor and misery as much as anybody does. There's nothing, as a fellow fat guy, I'll say there's nothing funnier than a fat guy falling down and hurting himself. I mean, home video, that America's Funniest Home Videos built their whole career around the whole empire around the fact that there's nothing funnier than fat people falling down and guys getting hit in the nuts. So yeah, there is some truth to that. Even when my kids fall, you know, you got to make sure they're safe and that they're not hurt, but it's still kind of funny when they fall down. So you got to realize that, but you got to know it's just not safe putting a gun in a little kid's hands. I've seen kids firing off a big caliber gun, and then they do that second fire when the gun's in the air. I've seen a lot of women do that too. The blam, you know, the blam, blam. That's so dangerous. This is not a joke where someone's going to be embarrassed or someone's going to look silly. This is a joke where someone can get killed, and I can never condone that. Now, another thing is about how to deal with people who do present bad examples. In one case they're saying, well, this is a person who claims to have been into guns for 20 years and they're doing this. They can't possibly have been into guns for 20 years. I've got bad habits. We all make mistakes. And just because you've been doing something for many, many years doesn't mean you won't make a mistake. I've known people that were experts in their field in electrical work for many, many years, and then they die because they made a mistake. They made a lapse in judgment when they were working, and they ended up getting themselves electrocuted. So even experts make mistakes. And people have bad habits ingrained in them. I've been shooting for 20 plus years. I still shoot. My form is horrible. And it's because it's a bad habit, and it's not one I'm really that interested in breaking now. So, just because you've been doing it a long time doesn't mean you're an expert. And a lot of people say that, well, they're really upset that people that are making these mistakes are presenting themselves as experts. Really? I mean, it's YouTube. Are any of us experts? I hate to break to you, there's not an expert on YouTube. I don't think. I've never seen one. And even these guys that own schools and teach classes on tactical training, or guys who are expert witnesses for tactics and have these credentials. How many of them do you think have actually ever shot someone in self-defense? I guarantee you most of them have never done it once, and even doing it once wouldn't make them an expert. All they've done is study the statistics, and all they've done is find something that someone wants to know how to do. It may not be useful, it might be fun, it may not be at all useful, but they're selling you a product. That doesn't make them an expert. I mean, to me, you have to know something backwards and forwards, and you have to be able to do it before you're an expert. It's kind of like something they used to tell us when I was in art school, when I was getting my first degree. They were like, we had this class where we had to draw a telephone. And we had all these artistic people who wanted to abstract that telephone. And our instructor tore up their drawings and said, you can't abstract the phone until you can draw the phone. And that's the way I am about people. You can't consider yourself an expert at something if you've never done it. So I'm not an expert at guns. I'm not an expert at self-defense. And most of the people that are selling you a product, they're salesmen that are selling you a product, and they've practiced some things with their guns. But that doesn't make them an expert on self-defense. And so I don't think anyone that presents themselves as experts on YouTube are actually experts. None of us are, I don't think. And I don't think most people actually intend to present themselves as experts. They just present themselves as someone who's passionate. And the one problem with YouTube is there tend to be too many of a certain two types of people. There's too many sheep and too many sharks. There's too many sheep that are willing to follow anybody blindly as long as they like them or they think they fit into a group that likes them. We all know people like that on YouTube. They'll attack anybody that gives a contrary opinion. They will defend someone even if they're wrong, if it's part of their clique. And that's just not a mentality you want to have. But to the other extreme, the sharks are just as bad in some ways. And those are the people that are just waiting for the chance to tear somebody to pieces. The first time they sense blood, they just attack. And then you have all these lesser sharks that are with them that they get caught up in that blood frenzy and they want to attack and attack and attack too. And they forget that we're just attacking for the sake of attacking, and we're not constructively doing anything. We're not changing any behavior. We're not altering any messages. We're just attacking. And we got to get to the point where we can chastise without humiliating. Although a little humiliation is never bad. Embarrassment's a good motivator. But when we try to chastise, when we try to attack, we have to remember that our goal is to change the behavior, not to humiliate the person or to degrade the person. We want to try to change their behavior. If you can change the behavior of the person you think is being the bad influence, not only are you changing their behavior, but you're changing the behavior of the people that you think they influence. So you're actually achieving something there. So don't be a shark and don't be a sheep. Try to be something in between. I don't know, if you combine the two words, it's still shark. So what are you going to do? Or it's still sheep. So you can't really combine the words, but just kind of be a shark, a sheep with some teeth, or be a shark, a thoughtful shark. Just try to remember there's no reason to attack for the point of attacking. Now, I'm not saying that the attacks aren't justified, because there are a lot of things I've seen attacks on that are justified. Every now and then we all read the story about the surfer that was surfing where he wasn't supposed to. It was posted. It was, you're told, don't surf here, you'll get eaten by a shark. They get eaten by a shark. My response to that is always, hey, he got what he deserved. He got eaten by a shark. What did he expect? He went where he wasn't supposed to be. So a lot of times someone does something really stupid, they get attacked on YouTube. I'm like, they were asking for it. So, I'm not saying that the people that are doing the attacking are bad, because they're not. I mean, sometimes attacks are justified. But I would like to see maybe the attacks tempered a little bit, like I said, geared more towards changing the behavior. Because if you're saying this person is such a big influence and so many people watch them, you would achieve more by changing their behavior than you would by trying to degrade them. Because certain people are going to protect them no matter what you say. So gun safety, I just think it is something that's very important. I think that gun safety checks on videos are unimportant. I think you can treat a gun like it's safe. You can handle a gun like it's safe. Don't do things that are stupid. Don't do things that are never necessary under any circumstances. Do feel free to attack people for things they did wrong, but try to attack in a manner where you're actually trying to change some behaviors. Don't just try to be a bully, or don't try to tear somebody down. Try to rebuild somebody in a way that's more constructive. So those are just my rambling thoughts on it a little bit. I've got a lot more that I probably need to think through on it right now. But that's what I wanted to get on tape right now. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.